There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
Jonny Finch here with a somewhat kinda rant / love letter about the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Lately I've been seeing more and more video essays on the problems involved with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And while I enjoy and respect criticism of films, I can no longer stand by and watch people criticize the MCU as a whole. I can no longer stand by and not defend my love for the MCU. Let's take it back. I'm in 8th grade, and Iron Man has just come out in theaters. Up until this point, I have been a die-hard DC fan and don't know anything about Marvel, except that they copied a lot of DC characters. But understand that I loved DC and still love DC and their characters to this day. But when I got into that theater to watch Iron Man for the first time, something happened that day. Something special. I fell in love with Marvel. But more so than that, I fell in love with the after-credit scene because it promised so much more. For me, this got me so excited for the future of Marvel. But nothing, absolutely nothing could prepare me for what was to come. I have now grown up with the MCU and it has been one wild ride. Are all of the MCU movies perfect? Definitely not. I'm underwhelmed by a lot of them, but it doesn't matter because I have been utterly sucked into these characters' lives. And that's what the MCU excels at. Outstanding characters. It's the same reason I love watching Lost, even though it has a million unanswered questions and a lot of plot holes. Those characters were everything. Each episode would suck you back in because you were just dying to know more about these interesting characters' lives. The same can be said for the MCU. It even follows a similar structure to a TV show, where you have multiple episodes that play out over an extended period of time. People just can't wait for the next episode in the Marvel series. This is even outlined in a favorite video essay of mine, How the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a Modern Serial, in which Owen nicely outlines the history of how serials have evolved. There is a larger story at play in the MCU, and each film represents a chapter in that grander story. And when you start to look at it from that perspective, you tend to ignore the fact that the films are just pushing us to the next film. Because, well, that's what they're supposed to do. Just like any great book, the chapters in that book move the story forward in a way that is interesting and logical. Naturally, you like some chapters better than others, but they're all leading to an incredible climax that will hopefully blow your socks off. Please be good. And I'm tired of hearing that Marvel has just become a business venture to gain as much money as possible and no longer cares about the stories of these films. Let's be honest here, these stories are created by a bunch of comic book nerds who actually care about these characters and make sure that their stories are told well. I am so confident that Avengers Infinity War will be amazing because a bunch of creative leaders band together in a room and figure out the best way to tell this one overarching story. That is how it should be done. Now, these people aren't perfect, but they do so much good for the MCU that I can forgive the negative things about it. I've stated this in previous video essays, but when passion meets creativity, you get something spectacular. No fantastic film was ever created where the director wasn't passionate about his or her project. Kevin Feige even stated in an interview saying, "All I'll say is the films we are working on now, which should take us through to the Avengers Untitled in May of 19, that's really all we are focusing on. And we are focusing on bringing, by that point, an unprecedented 22-movie, continuous, shared fictional narrative to a conclusion in a satisfying way. And where we go beyond that? Of course we will go places beyond that. And of course we have ideas of where we go beyond that. But really, it is all good stories. And as the series finale of Star Trek The Next Generation said, all good things must come to an end. So you can clearly see that Feige and the team at Marvel are focused on completing this story, not just endlessly pushing us to the next film in the franchise. He cares about this one epic long story and wants a finite ending to these 3 phases. He wants to see this first book come to an end, and I think that's brilliant. Stories need to eventually come to an end, or else the emotional payout can be dampened. Even more so, I like to see all of these Marvel directors and actors on social media showing support for one another. It's like one big happy family that loves what they do and have genuine enthusiasm for their projects. Let's be real, Marvel changed the game in a big way, and we're all the better for it. Just like Star Wars changed the game for big blockbusters, or how The Lord of the Rings forever changed the fantasy genre, the MCU is the next phase in the evolution of the blockbuster, the shared universe phase. And it's run rampant everywhere, with DC now on board and even Star Wars. Universal Studios is even trying a shared dark universe. At least they're trying. The MCU is fresh and inventive, and that's a big reason why so many people love it. There is a revolution happening in Hollywood, and its name is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It has grown in popularity not because they're showing us cool superheroes, but because they're telling the story the right way. How can you not get excited for the biggest blockbuster of all time, when they have spent so much time and energy to get to this point? They deserve to show us this, and they deserve to get recognition for this marvelous accomplishment. Okay. The MCU has gained millions of fans from around the world, and it's because we find our own story through these characters. Whether you're a skinny short kid who dreams of being more while always trying to do the right thing, or a man who seeks redemption after realizing his egocentric and wrongful ways, or someone in search of a father figure, or a kid trying to find who he is, or an intelligent woman who fights for what she believes in, despite her past. We are passionate about the MCU because we are passionate about stories and the journey they take us on. The MCU has caused a dramatic and wide-reaching change in the film industry, and has forever changed people's ideas about what's possible through film, and the heroes we look up to. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to my short rant. I hope you enjoy the MCU as much as I do, and be on the lookout for more videos in the future. Thanks.